So, Setsuna and I have a lot in common. Neither of us sleep, and we both have really crappy memories. Now, she has an excuse. She was cursed by a dream butterfly. I, well, I'm just old. Hi guys, my name is Maria Park, and this is Approach to Nerd. And in this episode, we are reviewing Yashahime Half Demon Princess, episode 3, entitled Dream Butterfly. Guys, so much has happened in this episode. So I'm going to briefly summarize it, and then I'm going to talk about the things that are bothering me and that I have questions about. So I won't go verbatim, just so you know what's happening. So basically, this episode picks up from episode 2, where Miroha and Setsuna are now in Tokyo at the Higurashi Shrine fighting the demon again. And Toa is kind of like recognizing her sister, and yeah, picks up right from there. So while Toa is trying to help her sister Setsuna, she unlocks an ability like a video game, unlock or level up, and she now has the ability to summon this demon energy blade. And it's very powerful. It's so powerful, in fact, that when she starts sparring with Setsuna, she's able to cut through her cyclone attack. So I was very impressed with that. But the twins are not really getting along. After the demon is defeated, Setsuna stabs it through the head. Setsuna does not believe that Toa is her twin. She thinks she's lying when she says that they were siblings, and so she goes on the offensive. She's like, "No, I'm just gonna prove that you're not, my sister or whatever by, killing you." I'm like, that's basically the best way to describe that. So they get into it, and Toa's on the defensive. She doesn't want to fight Setsuna, and of course Setsuna's not caring. And I love how Miroha is like trying to intervene. It's such a Kagome thing, like, oh, maybe you don't want to do this. What if this is really your sister? Don't kill your sister. And Setsuna's like, shut up. Like, I think, honestly, if we're going to have two people that are like Sesshomaru and Inuyasha, it is definitely Miroha and Setsuna. Setsuna is more like Sesshomaru. And so when they talk, it's almost like Inuyasha and Sesshomaru are arguing. It's kind of funny. But yeah, so long story short, there's this hitokon type demon that attaches itself to Toa. And these things have the ability to basically use their host's abilities or powers or whatever. So of course it's trying to control Toa, and Toa is now trying to kill everybody with this demon energy, blade. So Setsuna, of course, is trying to fight her, and Miroha helps a little bit, and then Miroha is like, "Hey, don't you have like medicine that can weaken the hitokon?" It's just like, why didn't Setsuna think of this? So she does use this thing called Sword of the Swallows on Toa, which makes the hitokon leave, but then it goes into Mei. And she's so cute possessed. I hate to say that. She's so cute. She gets like a rock and she's like hitting Toa. And Toa's like, I'm sorry. And then Setsuna's like, I'll just cut it out. And, Toa's like, no, we're not going to be cutting anything out. You're not going to scar her face. And so Setsuna puts everybody to sleep with this resting moth attack, like resting moths, a moon of the resting moths or something like that, which is it's another Slayer type potion or attack. I think it's a Slayer's potion. And she also has another Slayer's potion that she uses to exorcise the hitokon out of Mei. And here's Miroha. She's like, oh, well, I probably wouldn't get much for this, but bounty-wise, but I could eat it for lunch. And I'm like, Inuyasha. Like, side note, Gramps and Kagome's mother are also still there, and Kagome's mother is definitely like, she's like, oh, Miroha's eyes, she looks just like Kagome. So she's already like, that's my grandbaby. So that was pretty cool. But what's interesting, so let's get down to the interesting stuff, because that's basically the plot of that. Two things were happening. All the stuff that were happening with the demon and Toa and Setsuna and Miroha were in the present, and then simultaneously in the past, Kaide was giving us a little bit of backstory on what was happening with our OG people. And I say little because it was little. So apparently, when Toa and Setsuna were newborns, Sesshomaru showed up at Kaide's village and took them. So this leads me to my first question and worry. Is RIN dead? Did she die in childbirth? Because why take newborns from their mother if she's still alive? So I'm worried now that RIN is no longer alive. That is definitely a problem. And then in the second episode, we saw that Toa and Setsuna were like in the woods, which Toa always refers to it as the bright place. So now we're learning that it's kind of like a rite of passage in a way. So basically Sesshomaru dumped them in the woods. That's the only way I can really say. He's like, we need to see who the strongest one is, because I guess that's what they do in that demon culture. I mean, Kaede makes reference to the fact that demon siblings are jealous of each other. And she assumed that the reason Toa wasn't in the feudal era is because Setsuna killed her and was the stronger twin. And she says that's basically the nature of half demons. So, yeah, they more than likely were going through this rite of passage where they have to basically figure out which one is stronger. Maybe, I mean, that's not what happened because the twins were very close, but maybe that's what Sesshomaru thought was going to happen. Kohaku actually remembers Sesshomaru, Inuyasha, and Kagome, and says that, he remembers Sesshomaru helped him a lot, but he still has no idea what goes on through his mind. So if he really did take his twins to raise them to the point where they can minimally take care of themselves and then dump them in the forest, that's kind of effed up. But again, in a way, I don't understand it because he was so protective of RIN. It would be weird that, especially if she died, unless having them around was too painful for him, that he would ever let the twins like fend for themselves. So that just doesn't make sense to me at all. It doesn't. So yeah, but I thought it was interesting that when Setsuna was a little bit older, maybe like, she looks a lot older than 14. So I want to say she looked 14 then, but she's probably like 9 or 10, maybe younger, that she shows up at Kaide's place and she's like, you're taking care of me now. Like, this is why Kaede doesn't die, guys. It's because she has way too much shit to do. She can't die because every time she tries to rest, people bring her more stuff. So, but Kaede also talks about the Bone Eater well and how, it was made from the wood from the sacred tree or the tree of ages, and how they believe that Roothead basically has been draining the abilities of the sacred tree by attaching itself and, using the tree as the host. And that's why Setsuna probably was sucked through the portal, and that's how the girls are there now, which is interesting. I still don't know where we're going with this rainbow corridor thing, but the half demon thing came up a lot in this episode. So like Miroha recognizes Toa as being half demon, recognizes that her and Setsuna have the same demon energy, recognizes that her father and Setsuna's father is more likely the great Lord Sesshomaru. And I'm like, so you know who your uncle is, but you have no idea who your parents are? So it's just so weird. But she also goes on to say that she implies it anyway, the reason that they have rainbow pearls is because they're half demon. And I want to know what that's about. Because if half demons can have rainbow pearls, why didn't Inuyasha have one, and why are we just hearing about them in this series? So much, so many questions. But the girls did get back the red and gold. So red went back to Miroha, and of course Setsuna got back the gold pearl, went right back into her eye. Don't know why it chooses to be there, but whatever. Toa, of course, never had her silver one taken. Now, we got introduced to Sota's wife, Mei's mother, who is flipping hilarious. Her name is Mo, and she's so laid back. She's kind of like, her and Sota are just really laid back people. Like, stuff is going to crap, and she's like, just like when the girls, after the battle and stuff is done, and everybody's free of the hitokon, and they all are staying at Sota's place. And the wife is just completely okay with it. She's like, because he's like, yeah, I told you there were demons and all that. She's like, yeah, I believed you, but whatever. She's more concerned that the Kiku Jumanji that got broken, that Toa was using as a weapon, was on loan from the museum. And she's like, so I guess we'll just hold on to it because it's broken. And I'm like, why would you give something on loan from the museum to a 14-year-old? I don't understand that. That is very effing weird. But, there's a lot of things that are weird in this episode, so meh. But it's so weird. Like, I have so many questions. Like, Setsuna having her memories basically taken away and not being able to sleep. She's lost the ability to sleep because of this dream butterfly. We don't actually see the dream butterfly in this episode. It's just referenced a few times because now we know why Setsuna does not remember her dad. She doesn't remember who Toa is. It's because she can't. It's because she was cursed by a dream butterfly. So Toa, and I kind of figured this might happen, she's going to go on a redemption arc because she blames herself for every problem that her twin has. Because if only she hadn't let go of her hand in the forest, they wouldn't have been separated. Setsuna would never have been cursed. She would remember who she is, and yada, yada, yada. So Toa is blaming herself for all of this stuff. And so the episode ends oddly because they're talking, like Maroha is talking about the curse. I don't know how Maroha knows all this stuff, but she's talking about the curse with Setsuna. And, Toa jumps down and says, Setsuna, and then it just kind of ends. So I was like, it's a very odd place to end that episode. But, basically it's established in episode 4 in the preview that they are going to negotiate with Roothead to go back in time to the feudal era to try and track down the dream butterfly, to restore Setsuna's memories, to restore her ability to sleep, which I'm unsure how she's alive if she's not able to sleep unless she's a zombie. I don't know. And they're also going to run across Kikyo, which is very interesting. And she's going to have a request for the girls. So I don't know what's going on with that either. So yeah, we got a little bit more information. I think we got more about Sesshomaru leaving with the girls than we did, and potentially Rin being dead, than we did with Kagome and Inuyasha. It's refreshing to know, though, that Kohaku, Kaide, they all know who Inuyasha and Kagome are. But they still don't know who Maroha is. Like, even, I would think Kaide would know, if Kohaku doesn't know. Because he specifically remembers, Inuyasha and Kagome coming through the Bone Eater's Well, traveling from her village in Tokyo, and remembers Sesshomaru. So why not remember the daughter? It's just very weird. What the hell happened? I know I asked this in my last review. I just need to know what happened. But yeah, so that was interesting. And then Maroha is such an even divide between Kagome and Inuyasha. Like when she was trying to talk Setsuna down from the ledge, and she's so Kagome. Even her grandmother's like, oh, it's Kagome. But the way she talks, the way she sits, the way she there's a scene where she took a bath and she's like, oh, I got the hot water, and she has a towel on, but it's not really covering anything, and she's like completely naked and doesn't give a damn. And Sota's wife's covering her face, and she's like, oh, okay, go to bed, and she's just marching around butt naked. It's like Inuyasha. Like, she's so Inuyasha. So it's interesting to see Maroha as a character, because it really to me is like a reversal, like a fanfic. What would happen if, Inuyasha was actually the human and Kagome was the half demon? Now we see it. It's their child. She's a perfect hybrid between the two. It's absolutely amazing. And I love how Maroha and Setsuna banter, because Maroha reminds me a lot of Sesshomaru in mannerisms. So when her and Setsuna were like arguing over, or at least Maroha was trying to convince her not to take her twin out, it was like watching Inuyasha and Sesshomaru banter again. So that's pretty cool. That was I don't know if that was a choice they made directorially, but I liked it. I thought that was interesting. But yeah, so many questions. To recap, is Rin dead? The rainbow pearls apparently only go to half demons. Where's this dream butterfly, and how the heck did it affect Setsuna? Was it during the fire when they were separated and she ran into it? What happened? Did Kaide train Setsuna on how to be a demon slayer, or maybe even with priestess ability, even though I guess she wouldn't really have that, but who knows? I mean, Rin was human. Why doesn't Maroha remember her parents, or does she remember her parents? Why doesn't anyone else remember Maroha? Where the hell are Inuyasha, Kagome, Sesshomaru, and every other OG character that we haven't seen yet from Inuyasha? Where are they? What happened to separate them from their kids? Did Sesshomaru just dump his kids because Rin died and he couldn't handle the grief? Or is it some twisted demon, rites of passage that they have to go through that Kaede suggested? And basically they battle royale each other till the best twin wins. I don't know. Though that would explain why Sesshomaru was so angry with Inuyasha if all demon siblings have jealousy instantly and creates a rivalry. So would make sense that the twins would develop that, but they were really close. So I don't know. It's so much. And then what the heck's going on with Roothead, and how are you going to negotiate with a terrorist? I'm just wondering. And from what we see again with the preview, how big a role is Kikyo's spirit, ghost, whatever they come across in the Rainbow Corridor? How much influence is she going to have? Is she going to be like their role model, their Yoda, basically? I don't know, their mentor. What does she want them to do? Does she know what the heck's going on with everybody's memories, minds, why they don't remember Moroha and why all this is happening? Because if Setsuna is affected by a dream butterfly, does that mean Kohaku, in a sense, also is? But I guess he probably sleeps. Or maybe there's another demon out there that selectively takes memories. I don't know. It's strange, guys. There's so much. There is so much. But it was a very good episode. So at least we got a little bit more exposition on a tiny bit of backstory on what happened in the past. We now know is 10 to 15 years. But not much. So yeah, that is my review of episode 3. So many questions. I would love to know what you guys think, so please leave me a comment below and let me know. And if you would like to sign up for jury duty, hit the subscribe button. If you'd like to know who's next on the nerd ballot, hit the notification bell. Until next time, I can't wait for you to approach the nerd. Bye, guys.
Thank you for watching my video. I really appreciate it, but hey, the party doesn't have to stop now. Click on one of these videos and keep it going.